Hello BookTube, it's Joshua here, and I'm going to be doing the BooktTube Watching Tag. This tag was created by Harriet Rosie, and I was tagged by Book Chat with Pat. So thank you, Pat, for tagging me. Uh, I've been tagged, I think, three other times. I think I was tagged by Aaron Facer once, and then by Pat in another tag video, and then I was tagged by David Novak as well. And I want to get to all of those. So ideally, my next four videos will be, or my next three videos after this one will be tag videos. But question one is how many channels are you subscribed to? I counted and I'm subscribed to 309 channels. Um, and that's way more than I'm able to watch consistently. Um, and there are so many other BookTube channels that I hear of, but I never actually get to watching because as it is, I'm trying to regularly watch a certain maybe about a dozen booktubers who are like friends and who I want to watch regularly. So it's hard to get to the other ones. So yeah, only 309, but I only watch a very small portion of that. Um, Number two, when do you normally watch booktube? Uh, there isn't any specific time of the day that I watch booktube, but I'll just watch it throughout the day. I mean, I'll watch if I'm eating and I'm not eating with someone else. If I'm just eating on my own, I will watch booktube, or in the morning before I go to school, or after I get home from school. If I'm not doing homework, then I'll try to watch some videos. So just whenever I'm free throughout the day, um, I'll watch as much booktube as I can, and comment as much as I can. Um, so number three, how do you balance booktube watching, reading, and making your own videos? Uh, well, not well. And I don't really know. I I don't have any specific strategies for balancing those three things. It is often the case that I will have to choose between either getting a significant amount of reading done and watching or making a booktube video. Sometimes I have to choose between those two. Um, but I wouldn't give up either. I wouldn't I want to do both as much as possible. But yeah, like if I'm busy during a day, then it's harder to have that balance. But I try to read books throughout the day, and then also watch videos throughout the day, and then if I have a bit more free time, I'll try to make a video. Number four, is there a difference between videos you like watching and videos you like making? Uh, yeah, I mean, I really enjoy. Well, on my channel, I mostly make um, reading update videos and Poetry Thursday videos. Those are probably the two most common videos that I make. And a lot of the booktubers that I watch also make those kinds of videos, which I enjoy. But there is one kind of video that I watch, but which I don't make, and those are discussion videos. I've never made a discussion video on my channel. Um, I'm not really good at. I don't think I'm very good at just turning on a camera and talking on and just rambling about a subject. Yeah, I don't think I'm really good at thinking just off the cuff, like some other booktubers are. So I really enjoy watching those kinds of videos, discussion videos, or just videos with someone just saying their thoughts about whatever. Um, it's a lot of fun to watch, but yeah, I don't know if I'm very good at making those kinds of videos. Um, Number five, who is the first booktuber you subscribed to, and do you still watch them? Uh, the first booktuber I subscribed to that I can remember was the fantasy booktuber Daniel Green. And this was probably 3 years ago, I think. Um, Daniel Green, if you don't know who he is, I think he's a very big name in the fantasy side of BookTube. I think he probably has like 100,000 subscribers or more, maybe a million. I haven't really checked, but yeah, when I was first getting into reading, actually, I was kind of more into fantasy. Oh, actually, I was only into fantasy at the very beginning. And so I watched booktubers like Daniel Green and Murphy Napier. Um, but then actually, what kind of transformed my reading into other stuff as well, into classics and poetry, was another booktuber named Benjamin McAvoy. Um, and both of those, both Daniel Green and Benjamin McAvoy, I don't really watch them anymore. Um, but I discovered Benjamin McAvoy's channel probably around 2 years ago. And I think his channel was a lot smaller back then. Now he has like a Patreon, and he's kind of a more of an online teacher than a booktuber, I think. Um, but I remember watching some of his videos where he talked about his favorite poems, and he read Percy Shelley's Ode to the West Wind, I think it's called, and William Butler Yeats's The Lake Isle of Innisfree, and that just that video alone, I think, to a large extent, got me into poetry, or maybe really curious about it, and that made me want to try reading other genres, genres other than fantasy. But I don't watch either of those booktubers anymore, because, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really not as much interested in fantasy as I was before, at least not primarily. I do want to return to the genre later on, um, but not yet. And with Benjamin McAvoy, I think he only posts one video every 2 months, and so like yeah, I mean, it feels like for Benjamin McAvoy, he's more so running his Patreon. So yeah, and then well, after Benjamin McAvoy, I actually discovered Steve Donahue's channel, and so Steve Donahue was really the first booktuber in our little corner of BooktTube that I discovered, and from there, it was just like branching out from Steve's channel, where I discovered Hannah's books and Aaron Facer, and from there a bunch of other channels. I think I discovered Pat's channel, um, through Steve as well, I think. Um, so yeah, uh, that's kind of my more more of my history with BookTube in general. Um, Number 6, who is the most recent BookTuber you subscribe to? I'm not entirely sure. I checked, and I think it's Nikki at My Messy Bookshelf. I think I discovered her channel maybe a week or two ago, through Pat. I think I've been seeing Book Chat with Pat. She's been posting community posts with lots of with other people's videos of them doing the tag that Pat created, and so I discovered a lot of channels through those community posts, and I think at least one of the more recent ones was Nikki from My Messy Bookshelf. Um, 7. What have you learned from watching other booktubers? So much. I mean, uh, as I think I maybe said earlier in this video, BookTube has been with me, has been alongside my reading, uh, ever since I started reading. So, BookTube and you, yeah, BookTube has played a really large part in my learning about books and my growth as a reader. It has always been there, um, and I've learned so much from so many different booktubers. I mean, I could go on for a very long time. I'll mention, well, of course, Steve. Uh, Steve has, I mean, taught me really a lot about books. He's mentioned a lot of books, recommended a lot of books, um, and also kind of, I think, taught me a way of reading which I wouldn't have learned without him, and without a number of other booktubers on this platform, um, which is a really like which is, well, first of all, not to be a snob, to be open to all kinds of genres, um, and yeah, I mean, yeah. So I've learned a lot from Steve. I've learned about poetry from Book Chat with Pat, from David Novak and Philip Hall, both of whom are poets, and so I love talking to them or hearing them talk in their videos about poetry. Um, and I also learn about a lot about poetry from Aaron Facer. Uh, and so I learn about poetry from those guys, and I just love I love talking to them about it or hearing them talk about it. And what else have I learned? I mean, when it comes to things like nonfiction, I mean, I've learned a lot about nonfiction from Steve. I've also seen Justin at Triumphal Reads um, read a lot of history and read a lot of also nature books, and I always find it fascinating. I'm a newbie to a lot of different reading genres, so and I'm a complete newbie to nature books and almost a complete newbie to history. So seeing Justin hold up all these different history books is just completely fascinating, and it really kind of inspires me to try to read those things as well. Uh, John David also, he always makes these lovely Princeton book hauls where he shows up again a bunch of history books, and they all sound very fascinating and very intriguing. Uh, and I want to get to them all, but it's like an impossible task. But yeah. So I learn a lot from different people. I just got a book recommendation from Emily at the Linguists Library. She's a really big fan of Clarice Lispector, and so I hadn't even known who Clarice Lispector was before watching Emily's channel, and now I mean hearing her talk so passionately about the Spectre has made me want to go and find a book by her. Um, and so it's always just stuff like that. I mean, I should probably stop. I don't like could come up with endless examples. Um, and I think that's it. Okay, that's the end of the book tag. Okay, I hope I was coherent in this video. And I think that's it. I'm not going to tag anyone because I think um, Pat tag all of the BookTube channels that I already uh, am aware of. So yeah, I'll just say, I mean, if you watch this, I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for coming to my channel, and thank you, Pat, for tagging me. And goodbye.